Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to have a really juicy talk. One of my favorite talks or topics of conversation that I like to have with everybody that I come across with sometimes. So, today's video is going to be about having faith and uncertainty. Now, quick disclaimer, just because I am filming this video does not mean that I have mastered the art of having faith. If anything, I struggle so much absolutely every single day with my faith. I wake up with anxiety sometimes. I get fearful of so many things to this day, and I have been on my walk and journey with God ever since I got baptized for going on 2 years already. So I still struggle a lot. I don't want you guys to get the impression that I am someone who is just so strong in my faith, because I am not. I'm still human. I'm like all of you guys, and I'm pretty sure you guys probably have more faith than me. So, without further ado, we're going to get started and right into it. I do have my notes here again and my Bible here. So to start the conversation, we live in a fallen world, right? A world of pain and suffering. Everybody is affected by it one way or another through the harsh realities of life. There's always going to be pain, there's always going to be suffering, there's always going to be bad in the world. It takes faith to keep going when you're in the middle of hard times. Faith is a strong thing to have, but it is also something that is so easy to let go of and so easy to jeopardize. The devil works through many ways trying to sneak into your life and into your head or into your mind, just like me, especially in times of tribulation and hardships, right? Because in those moments, it's easy to think that the hard times will only negatively affect us. Like, when we're in the middle of going through something, we don't see the good through that situation. Like if it's not going to build our character. If anything, I feel like hard stuff strengthens us, right? The devil likes to pick at what is valuable. If you have a relationship with God and a biblically based perspective or foundation for your life, knowing the means of what it is to be a good person, to trust in God, to be still and steadfast in prayer, you don't think the devil is going to try to tempt you or wreck you or pick at you? The most valuable person, which is you, who tries to lean on God, you are the perfect example of what the devil is going to try to knock off their feet. He wants to create a divide, and Jesus wants to bring us closer together. And God says we are not exempt from bad things happening in our lives. God says that there are always going to be bad things, that are going to happen. And Psalm 44 depicts just that the difficulties listed in Romans 8:35, which I'm going to read to you guys in a moment, do not exempt us from suffering. It states, does it mean he no longer loves us if we have trouble or calamity or are persecuted or hungry or destitute or in danger or threatened with death? Then when you keep on reading in verse 37 of Romans, it states, no, despite all things, overwhelming victory is ours through Christ who loves us. Of course, we have free will. We have the freedom to make our own choices, good or bad. And unfortunately, there is a lot of bad in the world, a lot of bad people, but this is meant to be there in a way to teach us of what not to do. There's a verse that states just that in the Bible as well. I will have to find it. I don't know it off the top of my head, but it teaches us what not to do and how to be a good person. If everything was perfect all the time, this wouldn't be real life. You think God would have an opportunity to intervene into our lives if it was okay all the time? It wasn't meant to be that way. If not, we'd lose our free will and judgment, if anything. If not, he wouldn't feel the need to draw near us, or we wouldn't feel the need to draw near to him or seek him or pray. In Hebrews 11:1, it states, "Faith shows the reality of what we hope for. It is the evidence of things we cannot see." And that verse itself is so powerful, and it is one of my favorites. I am actually working on starting my own Christian brand with the most powerful verses that I really love in the Bible. This is one of the track suits that I'm actually working on. And that verse itself is so powerful because it gets you thinking, what if what is on the other side is so significant that you have to develop greater strength and courage to get to the other side? Just like sports, in order to get stronger or develop better skill, we have to go through continuous hard times and effort to persevere until we are conditioned to surpass that obstacle. I also love Peter 5:10 because it talks about turning pressure into power. It states, "And after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you." If that isn't the greatest promise, then I don't know what is. Truly, I would even go on to say that the closer you get to God, you're going to feel further away. You will feel like that because he knows you are capable of overcoming these things, He will put you in them, but he's going to pull you through them. And with God, the trials of today become testimonies of tomorrow. For example, Elijah was suicidal, Job lost everything, David was depressed, Moses was anxious, Hannah was barren, Paul was alone in prison, Jacob was a cheater, Peter had a temper, David had an affair, Noah got drunk, Jonah ran away from God, Paul was a murderer, Gideon was insecure, Miriam was a gossiper, Martha was a nervous wreck, Thomas was a doubter, Sarah was impatient. But with all things contrary, God still saved them. He can soften even the toughest hearts. And I absolutely love that because I feel like he softened my heart, because when I would go through hard times, I would kind of draw away from him even more. But he can soften even the toughest hearts, and he used the darkness they had to deal with and turned them into a testimony. Because how significant is that? Someone who is suicidal, someone who is barren, someone who's anxious, someone who's a cheater, he used the sinners, he used them to really impact the rest of the world through these books. It takes faith to contradict your circumstances, and we feel more familiar sometimes in the state of fear than in the state of faith. Just because the wind is against you does not mean that God is not right there walking with you. If you knew it all, he would have nothing else to do. If we thought we knew what we were doing, we wouldn't talk to him very much either. God's promise will be different than what we pictured and happen slower than how we expected or anticipated, and it's going to go further than we ever even dreamed of or thought of in most cases. Many situations will challenge your faith. Don't you ever think that in these seasons of uncertainty, he's preparing us for something greater, something so significant? God is the only one who knows where we are going, and he's the one that knows that destination. So why don't we just leave it to him and let him know the ETA, right? He is preparing all the moving pieces for our lives, and in many cases, if we aren't ready for this significant thing, and someone else that's going to be involved is going to be in that situation with you and they're not ready either, then you better believe that he's going to delay that until you guys are ready, right? He will delay it and he makes us wait a little longer, and it develops our character right before the blessing comes in the most unexpected ways as well. Developing unwavering faith takes a lot of consistency and hard work, and it's easier said than done. The closer you draw near God, the further you'll feel. And in many cases, I myself ask God to strengthen my faith, and guess what happens? Something significant tests my faith. I need to either stop asking Him to strengthen my faith or ask him to keep it calm until I am still and not shaken. And oh man, I have prayed many, many, many times for God to test my faith and make me stronger. And he does just that. He takes things or people away, changes my circumstances. I have nothing else to do, and I have been struggling more often in my finances and work related areas, and the list goes on. But lately, as I continue to pray and give it to God, I just stop caring less about figuring things out and ultimately just rely on him that I'm going to be fine. You know, there's absolutely nothing for me to worry. God did not give me the spirit of fear and anxiousness, and it's like he wants you to be at peace. He wants you to be happy. Like when you are anxious, you're not trusting God. When you're worried, you're not trusting God. And like I said, it's easier said than done because I right here have been struggling a little bit with the fear of like some finances and some stuff, and I've been a little bit worried. And this morning I'm completely fine. And the past 2 or 3 days I've been like crying consistently because I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then automatically I just pray and I can care less now because I'm alive, I'm healthy. I know things are going to work out eventually. I know things are falling into place. So maybe that's just an opportunity for me to continue to let it be and give it to God and know that I'm going to be okay, just like you guys are going to be okay as well, right? But anyways, I went through all my points already. That is a quick little video that I wanted to share with you guys, and I'm really passionate about talking about faith and trusting God just because I know I struggle with it. So when I watch videos about like-minded people who want to get stronger in that aspect of their life, it brings me more comfort because I know others are going through it just like me and maybe even worse. So I pray that you guys overcome what you guys are going through, and God bless you guys so much. Thank you for watching.